wife cheated on me for 20 years. I found out all my 3 kids aren't mine and from different guys. For 20 years, I was married to a devil and I didn't have any clue about it. A devil is even an angel where my stupid wife is. I honestly don't know where to start my story from. I'm currently in a state of a fiasco. I woke up one day and discovered the family I knew wasn't mine. The family I worked tirelessly for and even sacrificed everything for wasn't mine. Women are evil. In my next work, I would rather be an eunuch than get married. That's how bad my situation is. My name is Burke, not my real name though. For the sake of privacy, I will be using fake names. I'm 48 years old. The name of my wife is Katie and she is 45 years old. Katie and I have been married for 20 years now. I work offshore, so I'm rarely around. Katie, on the other hand, is a celebrity chef. Our marriage is blessed with 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. I thought I had a beautiful family not until a few months ago when I realized everything was a facade. Never in my wildest imagination would I have imagined that Katie would do this to me. I don't deserve this kind of betrayal. I can't believe my wife of 20 years has been cheating on me for the past 20 years. And what stings more is the fact that none out of the 3 kids is mine, and I'm depressed right now. That's the reason I thought it's wise to share my story here so that people can advise and encourage me on what to do. Have you ever been in this kind of situation? How did you handle it? How can I ever get over this? For clarity's sake, I will take my time and explain how everything happened. So Katie and I go way back. I have known Katie almost all my life. She was my best friend, my soulmate, and everything. Well, so I thought. I always thought getting married to Katie was the best decision I have ever made, and honestly, I never thought a day would come when I would regret everything. I've never had any reason to suspect Katie because I thought we were on the same page, but 3 months ago something happened at work. I was falsely accused of stealing, which got me suspended from work indefinitely. Looking back now, I'm glad everything happened because the whole situation opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I got to discover a lot of hidden secrets too. Immediately, I lost my job. I came back home to my family so I could be at least comforted, but nothing prepared me for what was waiting for me. As soon I got home and informed my dear wife what happened at my place of work. Her countenance changed immediately. The only thing my stupid wife uttered from her mouth was, "So what are you going to do now?" I ignored her comment because I thought she was flabbergasted and shocked by the revelation. But as time went by, she proved otherwise. Every day she would wake me up with, "Your mates are outside working and you are here just wasting away." I was surprised by the sudden change of character because the Katie I knew was different from the one I met in my house when I got suspended from work. Note that I usually send 80% of my salary to Katie at the end of every month. I usually tell her to take some for housekeeping, some for the children's basic needs and school essentials. I always advise to save some of it for rainy days like this. But I got the biggest shock of my life when my foolish wife told me there was no savings. Believe me, my salary is not small. I usually work 3 weeks offshore and I always get just a week out. That's why I send almost all the money I toil day and night to my family because I don't want them to lack anything in my absence. I almost passed out when my stupid wife told me there were no savings. That's where I started suspecting her because no matter how I did the calculations, I still could not understand how she spent all the money and worst of all, even TL. But she couldn't account for how she spent the money. Another thing that intensified my suspicion was that my stupid wife wasn't always at home. She hides under the guise of being a chef and spends days outside claiming to be working. It's weird because for someone as big as she is who has a sous chef working under her, I couldn't understand why she was away 24/7. It was at this point that I started paying close attention to her movement and activities. I started by asking the kids if this is how their mom goes out every day, and I was shocked when they told me she was hardly at home just like me. In fact, they told me they know me better than their mom because I at least spend a week with them every month, but they can't say the same for their mom. Honestly, this revelation broke my spirit because while I was out there toiling to feed my kids and finding closure in the fact that my kids are at least with their mom and she is looking after them, my kids were, in fact, being trained and looked after by different nannies while their so-called mother is out there lavishing my money. The infuriating thing about this whole situation is nobody knows what Katie uses her money for because I take care of all the bills even though she works and earns well. On one fateful day, I got lucky and got access to Katie's phone. Anyone who knows Katie knows she doesn't joke with her phone and carries it around like an egg. But on this fateful day, her phone was in her hands and she dozed off. I quickly took the phone from her hands and tiptoed out of the room like a petty criminal. I knew the sleep wasn't deep and that she might wake up at any moment, so I quickly cloned her phone. I had researched about it before, but I never got the opportunity to experiment it. But alas, the golden opportunity came. I cloned the phone and immediately took it back before she woke up. With everything on Katie's phone now in my phone, I decided to go through everything one after the other, bit by bit, and damn, nothing prepared me for the things I discovered. How I didn't get a heart attack that day is still an unexplainable mystery because my chest was literally beating. I could see it. At one point, it even felt like my heart would jump out from my chest. I discovered through chats that my wife has been cheating on me for the past 20 years, and that's not all. All our 3 kids are not mine. Let me still shock you all, the kids have different fathers. If I had not seen those chats with my eyes, I would have doubted the whole thing. If even with the evidence, I didn't want to believe the kids I loved more than anything else in this world weren't mine. In the chat with her friend, Katie was telling her how I would never find out the kids ain't mine, and I will keep training them till they're done with college. Then after that, she might just have pity on me and disclose everything to me. Then she doesn't care about the consequences because I would be old and weak, and the fear of spending my old age alone would leave me with no other option than to accept the kids and forgive her. I also discovered she spends my money on these baby daddies. They're basically on her payroll, and that's what she uses her money and my money for. At this point, I wanted the ground to open and just swallow me up so badly. I was lost in thought for days. I couldn't understand why the woman I love so much would betray me like this. That's how I got here. I'm still in shock. I don't know what to do. I can't discuss this with anyone because I'm ashamed of everything. I mean, how can I tell my friends that my wife has been cheating on me for the past 20 years, and I just found out that my kids are not mine? That's why I have come here to anonymously ask for advice. A part of me still wants to run a DNA test on the kids because maybe everything is a joke or even a prank. Maybe one of the kids might actually be mine, or 3 of them might actually be mine, who knows? Please, I need advice, guys. Should I secretly run a DNA test? Katie doesn't know I'm now aware of her outrageous secret, and I want to keep it that way for now till I'm able to verify everything. I just hope all this is just a bad dream and I wake up from this nightmare soon. Update. Hey Reddit, I'm back to update you guys on my story. Just like most of you suggested, I decided to go for a DNA test. I took a piece of hair from their hairbrush and secretly took it to a hospital in another city where no one knew me or my family and ran the test. Unfortunately, the DNA results proved that none of the kids was mine. For the first few seconds after opening the result, I was perplexed. I couldn't even utter a word. I just stood like a statue. It dawned on me at that moment that 20 years of my life had just been wasted just because I got married to Jezebel herself. That fateful day, I drove back home with my hands shaking. I couldn't even concentrate on anything. I got back home, and as usual, the kids ran out to welcome me. Seeing them welcoming me joyfully with a smile on their faces brought tears to my eyes because I couldn't bring myself to believe that kids aren't mine. How do I even break the news to them? Where should I start? I pretended like everything was fine, acted normal, and went inside as usual. Katie wasn't at home when I got back. I called her and asked her where she was, and she lied to me that she was at work, but deep down I knew she was lying. She arrived home 6 hours later at almost midnight, claiming work was hectic and that she was tired. I wanted to confront her and slam the DNA results on her face so badly, but I decided to keep my cool and wait for the perfect opportunity. While sleeping next to her, it occurred to me that I didn't know the woman I married and that I married a monster. That night I couldn't sleep as I kept thinking all night. The following day, my stupid wife woke up, got dressed, and said she was going to work. Something kept telling me to follow her. That's how I followed her on that day. My stupid wife, who told me she was going to work, drove into a hotel, picked a hungry-looking guy up, and drove straight to the car dealer shop. I didn't know what was happening at first, but soon enough I was able to put the puzzle together. Apparently that fateful day was her lover's birthday, and she took him to a car dealership to get him a car as his birthday gift. At this point I couldn't take it anymore, so I got out of my car, walked up to her, and gave her a dirty slap. The stupid guy wanted to intervene, but I warned him to stay out of it. The stupid guy is not even my problem because Katie had lots of lovers and they were mostly young boys. When I noticed people were beginning to gather at the scene, I quickly got into my car and left, but that was after I gave Katie a piece of my mind. I warned her not to step foot into my house again and that it was over. On my way home that day, I couldn't think straight because here I was struggling to buy gas for my car because I was out of a job and broke, but my wife was going about busy spending the money I gave her to save on stupid guys. I got home that day and I didn't know what to do or how to act. I didn't want to involve the children. I mean, how do I bring myself to tell them I wasn't their father? But luckily for me, they were still in school by the time I got back, so I quickly dashed into the room and packed everything that belonged to Katie out of my house. Just as I was doing that, the devil arrived. She asked me to stop so that she could explain. Initially, the fool wanted to lie about the whole situation, claiming that the guy I saw her with earlier was her younger cousin. It was at that point I knew I married Jezebel herself. With her crocodile tears, she called me insecure, and that I embarrassed her just because I saw her with her cousin. She told me her cousin wanted to buy a car, but since he was inexperienced, he begged her to assist him, and that's why she took him there, and not that she was the one buying the car for him. At that moment, I couldn't help it, so I gave her 3 dirty slaps on one cheek. It took everything in me to restrain myself from getting physical with her. I asked her to get out of my house and that she was an unrepentant liar. I told her everything I knew, about how I started suspecting her and even started monitoring her movement. I took the DNA result and slammed it to her. It was at that point that her face cleared. She started begging, claiming everything was the devil's work. Oh wow, isn't it funny how the devil gets blamed for every stupid mistake women make? I asked her why she betrayed me the way she did, and she couldn't even give me a reasonable excuse. She opened her dirty mouth and told me it was because I wasn't always around and that she got lonely at some point. But is that enough reason to allow me to raise another man's kids? I asked her. She couldn't even utter a word. She just kept saying it was the devil and that she didn't even know what came over her. I told her to leave and expect divorce papers from my lawyers, but she refused, crying like a child that just lost his candy. I had to call security to come push her out of my house. While that was happening, the kids arrived and asked me why I was sending their mom out of the house. I couldn't tell them anything, so I told them their mom would explain better, but that for now, they need to go with their mom. I told them I was going through something right now and I just wanted to be alone. Katie opened her stupid mouth and told me I can't do that it's not right for me to send my kids away just because we are having a disagreement. Can you guys imagine this woman is trying to tell the kids that I'm a bad man? Well, I used the opportunity to tell kids I'm not their father. I know they will not really understand because the oldest of them is just 12 years old while the youngest is 8. We didn't start having kids early because I wasn't always around. I wanted to be part of my kids' life. So I suggested we wait till around the time I was planning my retirement before having kids. Well, back to the subject of the day. Telling the kids I wasn't their father wasn't an easy thing, but I'm glad I did. Because a dangerous woman like Katie can poison their minds tomorrow, telling them their father abandoned them, so I'm glad I clarified that. The oldest child sort of understood everything because immediately I told them I wasn't their dad. He asked me who is their dad, but I asked him to direct that question to his mom. That's how Katie shamefully left my house with the kids. The following day, as early as 6 a.m., Katie and her parents arrived at my house. The parents pleaded I forgive her and just forget about everything for the sake of the kids, but I told them the kids ain't mine. They were shocked when I told them this. Apparently, Katie left out that part when she narrated everything to them. They asked me if it was all 3 of them, and I said yes. Katie's parents became so weak they couldn't even say anything. With their heads shamefully bowed down, they told me they would accept any decisions I wanted to take with their daughter, but I should please not send the kids away. They gave me an example that some people adopt kids and some even take care of children that are not theirs. But I told them all that is true, but not under this kind of circumstances. I made it clear to them that there's no way I would raise another man's kids while their fathers are out there. Then tomorrow, when I'm done taking care of them and paying their bills, they will look for their fathers and reunite with them. Or one stupid man might just up at my day someday asking for their child. At that moment, Katie's parents had to cut in. They asked me what I meant by different fathers, and I told them the kids had 3 different fathers. They stood up immediately, apologized to me, and left. They told Katie they didn't want to see her back at their house and that she was a big disgrace. While they were about to leave, my lawyer arrived just in time and gave Katie the divorce papers to sign. She refused to sign, but I threatened her I would leak the story to the press if she refused, and since she was a celebrity chef, that would be bad for business. With this, she quickly signed the papers. We'll be meeting in court to start the divorce proceedings soon. I need advice, guys. What should I do? Should I cut all communication with the kids, or I should still be in their lives? I'm in a state of a fiasco right now, and sincerely, I don't know what to do. Update. Hey Reddit, I'm back to update you guys. The divorce has finally been finalized. Katie got full custody of the kids. The judge asked why I didn't want to have joint custody of the kids and if I was trying to avoid responsibility, but I told her the kids ain't mine. That's how Katie got full custody of the kids. After the divorce, I wasn't still satisfied. I wanted to make Katie pay for everything she had done to me. The pain was still fresh in my heart. Even divorcing her couldn't give me the closure I needed. I wanted her to suffer so badly, so I came up with a plan. Remember I told you guys that I cloned her phone when I started suspecting her? Well, through the help of an IT friend, I was able to hack her bank account, and that's how I swept up all the money from there. My friend did a good job. There's no way the money can be traced back to me. My friend is that good. Technically, I got my money. All the money I've been sending her to save. Not everything, though, but I'm glad I swept up her account. This will make her suffer. Good luck to her trying to raise 3 kids with an empty bank account. Even with all these, I wasn't still satisfied. I know a lot of people might think I'm evil, but only I know the pains I went through when I discovered my 3 kids weren't mine and that my wife had been cheating on me for the past 20 years. At this point, I still wanted Katie to suffer for ruining my life, so I came up with another plan to make her pay. Since her phone was still cloned on my phone, I got her sex videos, lots of them, and posted them on all her social media accounts. Remember I told you guys she was a celebrity chef? This ruined her entire career. She called me crying one day and asked me why I had dedicated my time to ruining her life. She told me she knew I was the one who hacked her bank account and took all her money, and that she also knew I was the one who used her social media to post her naked videos online. She begged me to please forgive and that she was sorry for everything. She told me no excuse could justify what she had done to me. Unfortunately for her, I didn't buy any of the things she was saying because I knew she was only crying and begging because the heat was getting to her and not because she was sorry. At that moment, I felt relieved knowing the person who ruined my life was also suffering. I decided to go for therapy because the whole thing affected me in a bad way. I started drinking and eating unhealthy food. I added rapid weight, and that was how I became overweight. I was living recklessly because it suddenly occurred to me that I didn't have any reason to live anymore, no kids, no job, and no wife. But I decided to go for therapy because I realized a dead man tells no tales. And once there's life, there's hope. I'm glad I sought help because I'm finally coming back to who I used to be. I also registered at a gym and started working out, also started eating healthy. I have dedicated my time to work on myself. It's going to be a long journey, but I'm taking one step at a time. I also got news that changed everything for me. Remember I told you guys I got suspended from work because I was falsely accused of something I knew nothing about? Well, the mess was sorted and I was called back to work with a double promotion and my arrears were paid in full. I was happy when I got the email from my employees apologizing for the mix-up. I'm glad I'm back to work healthy because that would take my mind off everything. As for my stupid wife, she is back at her parents' house with the kids because she lost everything. The video I posted ended her career, so everything went down the drain. I don't have any regrets about what I did, and if given the same opportunity, I would do it all over again. And with no job and no money, Katie went back to her parents' house with the kids. Apparently all the kids' fathers are just jobless fools, and it happened she was the one bankrolling them with my money all these years. In the end, I'm glad everything happened because it opened my eyes and I got to discover a lot of hidden secrets. Imagine finding out at 60 years old that all my kids ain't mine. I don't think I would have suffered the shock.